When I surrendered to the menopause journey and dived into the underworld, one of the first things that I realized was that the language I'd learnt as a child, the language I'd learnt through the education system, the language I used every day in the outer world wasn't going to be the right language to help me navigate this deep part of myself and the underworld. I had to learn and become fluent in a new language. And this is very much like, the heroine's journey in comparison to the hero's journey. The hero's journey is very linear. He goes out on a quest, he comes across challenges that he has to overcome. He eventually slays the biggest challenge, which is the dragon or corresponding to the dragon. He is forever changed and he comes back to his self and he marries the inner feminine or the princess. But the heroine's journey is very different. The heroine's journey for me is more like when somebody makes a beautiful patchwork quilt, or the women in India who make those ralis, hand-stitched quilts out of scraps and bits of old clothing and saris that have been kept for generations, and bit by bit they find the right one, and it takes a lot of time, and they're not always sure when the next right piece is going to come, and they sew it together. This is how women's journeys come together and their stories come together, and it is a different language than we're used to. It's the language of symbolism, it's the language of myth, it's the language of making connections between the inner world and the outer world, which is through synchronicities. It's the language of dreams, it's the language of feeling and body knowing, somatic knowing. So we have to learn this language. So I learned it through getting very good at dream work. I learned it through collage and art, but art that came from a feeling, not from my head, through automatic writing, through going into nature alone and listening and connecting, through aromas, because they're our sense of smell is the only sense that doesn't go through the thalamus. It goes straight to this more ancient limbic part of the brain, through creativity, through looking at synchronicities and the patterns in my life and the patterns I'd inherited. And so it's this language, these things, this way of being that we teach women in our program. So if you're interested in a free masterclass to see how this works, guided imagery, guided journeys, visualizations, join us for a masterclass, free 2-part masterclass. The link is in the bio. Lots of love.